Hello, everybody. Eric Bynum back again to just kind of give you an overview of the research paper that I did for this course in American Christian Heritage. I chose to look into the moral majority that sprung out of the Southern Baptist Convention during the late 70s. I found it interesting in the political influence that the moral majority had, specifically over conservative Republicans during the 1980s. They played a huge role in influencing and trying to bring back conservative Christian policies into politics, especially during the Reagan administration. Of course, it was founded and started and led by Jerry Falwell. But I guess one of the bigger things that they were proponents of was the pro-life in the abortion argument. So I focused on three things. I really focused on the abortion argument. I focused on prayer in schools and the defense military spending. And I found it really interesting when you looked at the Southern Baptist Convention and their resolutions that they had put out in 1971 prior to Roe v. Wade. They had put out a resolution on abortion essentially saying that they were okay with abortion in instances of rape, incest, danger to the mother, certain instances like that. As time moves on and the Southern Baptist Convention, a more conservative group, takes control, as you move through the 70s, that gets deleted from their resolutions on abortion, and it's essentially they're completely against it. When you look at the moral majority and their influence on politics, I think it's evident when you look at the Reagan administration. If you look at the Reagan Presidential Library, in the online archives, there are whole folders dedicated to documents straight from the moral majority and the interactions that the Reagan administration and the moral majority had. Now, there's even more that are not digitized, but there was quite a few that were digitized, and a lot of them were interactions dealing with abortion, interactions dealing with all sorts of issues throughout the 1980s, including military spending and defense initiatives and things like that. When you look at the money raised by Jerry Falwell and the moral majority, they were raising hundreds of thousands of dollars. But it was an expensive way to raise money. They were doing a lot of this, now remember, in the 1980s, this is prior to computers and things like that. So it was direct mail campaigns, sending out letters, sending out things to try and, get those donations. And when you look at the moral majority, he had to separate that from the old-time gospel hour because the old-time gospel hour was tax exempt. He could lose the tax exempt status, if he were doing some of the things and speaking out in, politics and whatnot. So he created the moral majority to sort of usher in that political element of the conservative Christian movement that was taking place in the 80s. So really felt that it also kind of led to the foundation of other groups that were they were people that were influential into the George H.W. Bush presidency, even George W. Bush's presidency, and things that you see that are taking place today in our society with the repeal of Roe v. Wade. I kind of felt that the moral majority is kind of what led to a lot of those groups becoming more politicized and interacting with politicians and creating that movement for conservative Christians. So that's just kind of a little overview of my topic. Hope everybody's doing great. Take care.